What's up, Bulldogs? All right, today I thought I would talk about the idea that you cannot change society and that you cannot change people, and that it is better for you to always look for the solution to your problem in a way that you can change or you can adapt to the problem than outside yourself to other people. And again, this is really one of the core things that gives someone the victim mindset is this idea of blaming someone else for their circumstances or thinking that the problem is with someone else or society at large, right? And the larger the entity that you're blaming, the more of the victim that you become because the more helpless that you are, right? And I see this all the time. The reason why I decided to make this video is because even with well-meaning people, right? Even people who are fairly intelligent, who are actually to a degree self-actualized, when I bring up an argument and I talk to them about just some specific thing that you know that they could change or that how a person should act. Almost always, I will get them talking about the other party or the other whether I talk about men. If I tell men about some of the things that men are doing wrong, almost immediately, I will get the response of, well, women do this. If I talk about to women about what women are doing wrong, almost immediately I'll get the response, well, men do this. And while those things may be true, they're completely irrelevant. And that sort of destroys your sovereignty over yourself when you make that kind of argument. And so I think that, again, and we've seen this a lot, right? On this channel, you've probably seen me address people who have talked about Stoic philosophy and talked about other people and how other people need to behave. And I find that this is just such a huge contention point in society today. I find that almost every single person that's stuck in the victim mindset, they don't realize they're stuck in the victim mindset because they think that the victim mindset is me saying, woe is me. That they're crying and whining, and they think that's what it means to be a victim, to have the victim mindset. But in reality, having the victim mindset simply just means blaming anything outside of yourself for your own circumstances, right? Even if you're correct, even if those things are bad or they're causing harm to you, right? And so the thing that I've learned to do is to recognize, right? I can acknowledge the ills of society. I can acknowledge the things that are not correct in society, right? There are plenty of those things, right? I've talked about them on this channel, in terms of masculinity and the way that it's portrayed in society today. Yeah, there's huge problems, right? There's huge problems where men don't step up and learn to be men. There's huge problems where we live in somewhat of a feminist society, and there's all this woke culture where you're being given just the absolute wrong message in life, and the gender roles are being purposely diminished, where men don't really have a place in the society. Yeah, there are these things that are wrong, right? And I could list tons of them. I could list plenty of things that I believe are wrong with society, things that should not be the way that they are, that are not beneficial in the way that they are, right? I can list all those things because I understand all those things. But my focus is never to try and change those things directly, right? I can indirectly change some of those things by helping individual people. But again, that's not the goal. I don't believe that I'm going to change society, and I don't want to change society, right? One of the things that I think you need to understand as a man is that this society, in fact, I was listening to a reel that one of my friends, Brandon Carter, did. And he was saying exactly the same thing, which was great, because he was saying that, look, you should be happy that we live in such a weak feminist society today, because as a man, if you are not weak, if you are actually masculine, if you learn to develop yourself, there's not much competition, right? It makes it easier. The weaker that other men are, the weaker that society is in general, the more that you have to gain and the easier that it is going to be for you. And so that's the way to look at it, right? So I don't actually even want things to change. I don't want things to be different. If anything, I want things to be different for for the people that I care about, in order to so that they don't end up going down some of these corrupt paths that are misguided in life. But you shouldn't worry about that stuff, right? The biggest thing that I find is that more people worry about other people and society at large than they do about themselves. And that's why I don't even turn on the news. I don't go to CNN. I don't go to Fox News. I don't go to any news sites, and I don't watch any kind of news because I don't care. I don't care at all. I really don't care at all. I don't care what's happening politically in the world. I don't really care. Sure, I hear about it because people tell me, and sure, it's fun and entertaining to hear those things, but I don't take it beyond that, right? I don't have any control over the presidential election in the United States, and I don't care. And I see, as I'm glancing through social media, I see people complaining or whining about, whatever Trump is going to be taken off the ballot in Colorado, or they're going to try to take him off the ballot in California. It's like all of this stuff people are whining about and crying about and making such a big thing about. You only have so much energy in your life. You only have so much emotional energy, right? If you waste it on other people, on what they're doing and stuff that doesn't really concern you, right? Then what are you going to have left for you? And this is why many of you guys, you're wondering why you can't actually accomplish anything in life and why you're not able to become successful. And the reason why is not because you're incompetent. It's not because you're lazy. It is literally because you are expending your energy on the things that are not beneficial to you. And it's like this. It's kind of like a lot of times when you're doing this, it's like you're trying to push a wall. Okay. And you're like, I don't know why I'm so tired every day. And I don't know why I'm not making any progress. And the reason why is because you're trying to push a wall instead of trying to push a ball, right? You're using all your energy pushing a wall instead of, you already got to roll a ball up a hill in order to be successful in life. But at least if you're rolling a ball up a hill, you can actually push on that ball and it can actually go up the hill. But if you're trying to push against a wall, you're trying to change society, you're trying to change women, you can argue on the internet until you're blue in the face, and you're not going to make a bit of a difference in that. But if instead you change yourself, instead you work on yourself, you go to the gym, you start reading books, you start educating yourself, right? You don't focus on all this stuff that is beyond your control. And instead you focus on the things that are in your control, you're going to see a lot of things change, right? And you're also going to find that those things, there's so many things that I think that most people think matter in their life that don't actually matter. I guarantee you, if you turn off the news and if you never watch the news again, if you never go to another news site again, right? If you exit from most of social media, again, I wish I could exit completely. I would if I didn't have a business that utilized social media in order to grow my business, but I would completely exit social media if I could, right? And I pretty much do, right? For the most part, I don't really watch anything on social media. I pretty much put my posts on there, and sometimes I open up the apps, but hardly ever, and I don't miss anything. There's nothing that I'm missing. There's nothing that I need to know that is outside my own life that is really vital to me, right? You can make excuses, and a lot of people will do that. They need to stay up to date on things, but I tend to hear about everything that's happening anyway, even though I don't really want to, right? And it doesn't matter. None of that stuff affects me, right? And if it does affect me, it affects me in a negative way, in the sense that I use my energy on that. So you got to put your energy on the things that are important to you, and don't worry about other people. Don't worry about what they're doing. Don't worry about if things are fair, right? That's the other trap that we fall into, right? For example, again, I'll harp on this again, but you've probably heard me do videos where I talk about how a man, if he's on a date, he should pay for the date, right? Pretty simple advice, right? Why do I say this? I say this because, first of all, if you invite someone out on a date, like, it's just common courtesy. You're just a gentleman. You just should be magnanimous and pay for things, right? You should have enough pride in yourself and respect in yourself as a man to pay for other people and to take care of other people, right? And if you invite a woman on a date, you should treat her like a woman. Whether she acts like one or not, you should treat her like a woman. And see, that's where we start to mince words, and this is where people start to go wrong, is because they'll say, hey, John, well, women don't deserve this. I don't care. It doesn't matter. That's none of your concern whether someone deserves it or not. What if this woman's going to use me for a meal? Again, not your concern. It doesn't matter. Like, you're not going to change your behavior based on that. Like stop trying to change other people or try to change the world or worrying about these things that don't pertain to you, right? You might think that does pertain to you, but it doesn't. What pertains to you is what you do. What pertains to that other person is what they do. If a person tries to use you, that's on them. It's not on you. You shouldn't try and control that. You shouldn't try and prevent that. You're just going to do the things that you're going to do. Okay. And now, yeah, obviously you're not going to continue to allow a person to use you if they're continuing to use you. But if you're being too self-protective, if you're too worried about what you've heard about other people or what someone could do to you, then you're going to waste all of your energy and you're going to waste your time. Okay. So instead, just focus on you. Focus on what can you do. Focus on what do you need to be doing in your life right now? And don't worry about what other people do. I'm telling you, it's just become so bad that it's hard to even give anyone any kind of advice, any kind of wisdom, because they immediately argue back about how life is unfair or how women do this or whatever it is. Again, I'm dealing with a lot of men, but women do the same thing. Okay. Again, see, some of you guys immediately, when I say that, you're saying, well, women do the same thing. Yeah, I know women do the same thing, but see, you just fucked up, right? Because you just said that in your head. And that's exactly what this whole video is about. And this is an exact example of that, right? Is because that is what happens, right? Is that I say something about men and then a man says something, well, women do this too. I don't care if women do it too. Like, this is the whole point of the video, is to understand that it doesn't matter what other people do. It doesn't justify, whatever other people do never justifies your actions. Whether it's bad or good, it never justifies your own actions. If you base yourself, if you base what you do and your values off of other people and what they do, then you will be subject to their changes, right? You will not be constant, right? And the Stoics talk about a wise man. A wise man is a man that is constant in his ways. He lives based on principles, right? And so that's why, like, you cannot be Stoic. You cannot believe in Stoic philosophy and then worry about other people and worry about what other people do or what other people think or what they're doing wrong, right? Fairness is not part of the game. So get the idea of fairness out of your head, get the idea of what other people are doing outside of your head, and just focus on yourself and what you can do, and try to be the kind of man that acts the same way regardless of the situation, right? I had this other video I did, I think it was a short, where I talked about what you should do if someone disrespects you. And I said, it does nothing. Don't disrespect them back, right? Just let them disrespect you if they want to disrespect you. You don't have to leave. Don't be there. But be courteous to them back, because there's no need to be disrespectful to someone who's disrespectful for you. You should treat all people with respect, because that's who you are, right? And then if someone's disrespectful to you, you can make a choice to not be in their presence anymore or to withdraw from them. You don't have to be disrespectful back to them, because that doesn't benefit you in any way. All that does is it makes you unstable, right? And so again, if you can be pushed off of your stability so easily, then you're not really very masculine, are you? Right? Because that is what it is to be masculine, right? But I see so many guys that are pushed so easily. They're pushed into anger, they're pushed into different emotions, and they're pushed into this victim mindset by worrying about what other people are doing and what's wrong with society. But if you put your focus on that, right, I guarantee you're going in the wrong direction, right? And I can tell you, every single person I know that complains to me about other people in society, they are not doing shit with their life. See you tomorrow.